We are here in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Bears road trip against the Charlotte Checkers at Bojangles Coliseum. Todd Sadowski, Fox 43 Sports Director with former Bears captain and Fox 43 color commentary analyst Garrett Mitchell. We are at Bojangles Coliseum, like I mentioned. Behind us, if you'll notice, they're actually cleaning up from the Greg Biffle Memorial Service. Tragic situation in the NASCAR community as Greg Biffle and his family were lost in a plane crash. So if you see people cleaning up afterwards, they're going to make the transition to get the arena ready for hockey for the Bears and Checkers games, which you can see on Fox 43.2 Saturday at 4 p.m. and then on the main channel, Fox 43 main channel, Sunday at 4 o'clock. So, obviously a somber mood earlier here today, Garrett, but they're going to transition to ice hockey. And the Bears on the road, 18 straight games within the borders of Pennsylvania. I think you could feel the energy from staff and the team that they were ready for a road trip. And sometimes that's what you need. They're coming, so you might as well, get on the road and get it done.
Yeah, and you just get the guys together. Obviously, whether that's you just being on the plane, whether that's being around the hotel, being on the road for dinner, those are always bonding times that you don't get when you're at home, because guys go back to their own houses, back to their own families and whatnot. So, it's a great opportunity. We've talked so much this year about just the young team and seeing that leaf kind of turn over with some of those young players. So it's a great opportunity for them to spend some time on the road and bond together.
So they come to Charlotte, and boy, we hope the Checkers cool off before the puck drops on Saturday afternoon. Charlotte just bludgeoned Springfield Tuesday and Wednesday night 8-2 in both of those games. So they poured in 16 goals in those two contests. We know how good Charlotte can be. They eliminated the Bears last year in the playoffs in a sweep in the Atlantic Division Finals. Obviously a lot of turnover on both sides, but when you come to Charlotte and you face this Checkers team, what are the expectations when you come to their building?
Yeah, this is a team that just continues to come, and they will. They just continue to build and build and build, and they're not just going to roll over and go away. This is a tough building to play in. Obviously the guys know that. They've been here before. But yeah, you got to be ready. Things happen quick in this building. We saw it obviously in the playoffs last season, but it's a great building to play in. Exciting. Come down here and you take 4 points and you go back home. So it's an exciting time for the Bears.
You made reference to this being a young team. On Sunday, they're going to hit the midway point. And, in a lot of sports, you get rookies, you get first-year players, and you start to hit the tail end of the season and you just start to say, look, they're not rookies, they're not freshmen, whatever the case may be. And I think that's somewhat the case with this team, because so many of the younger players, the Ilya Protases, the Andrew Crystals, they've gotten a ton of playing time, a lot of top-line time. It is time for them to turn it on and really figure out how to finish games. The game the other day, losing in overtime, losing a 2-0 lead, those are the contests that you got to learn from and put into play as you move forward.
For sure, and I think you look at even some of your young guys, whether that's the guys that are coming from school, from college, they only play 40-some games in a season. So we're getting to that halfway point of it being 36 games where all of a sudden, those guys now are getting to the point in this season that, hey, it's all of a sudden, what we played all last year. So you really see the growth in a player where they kind of grow. And we've seen that from, you just touched on, Pro and Crystal and those younger guys. You got Gucci Hardy that, those are guys, they started to score some big goals for this team moving forward, and seeing the growth of young players coming through.
It's the first year for Coach Derek King with the Bears, and you mentioned some of those younger guys, the college guys, the rookies. He's got to feel that out too. Sometimes you can hit that wall, that first-year wall. So injuries, just line combos, keeping guys fresh. So it's up to Coach King to hit the road and then also kind of keep these guys fresh and understand the line combos.
Yeah, and you'll see down the stretch where you're going to see a lot of games here in the next little bit. So obviously rest is a weapon on that. We talked about it over the broadcast there last game. 10 games in 18 days, and that's a lot of hockey. Way different than a typical AHL schedule where you're weekend dominated, get the week off in between. So now it's a test for these guys, but it's a good test because you want to make that jump to the next level and play in the NHL. You got to be ready for that.
And Coach King loves the teaching aspect of the job. Not as much time for the teaching aspect of it as you get out there and you play. Now, part of the reason why there isn't the same depth and the amount of veterans is the deal, the labor deal when it comes to the American Hockey League. But they did reach an agreement. And I think for fans, without diving into too many of the details, there are some things that they should keep in mind when it comes to the new deal and how it will affect the product that they see. What are the things that jump out to you? What are some of the top line kind of topics and discussions that were settled within the latest labor deal?
Yeah, well, I think you look at it from a whole picture first of just being able to get that deal done. we saw what happened in the ECHL, and that was obviously, almost ended up in a potential strike and a walkout on the player side of it. So to have that deal done and be something that, you can get this set before we get too far into everything and you lose the players, you lose, potentially lose guys playing in the league and everything else, good on everyone to be able to finish that deal and get that thing done quickly before we kind of get to a point where, you start looking around wondering, what's next. But I think, you look at the veterans, there's some issues that they wanted to try to iron out. And, for myself being a part of, the executive committee for a handful of years through the PHPA, through the Players Union, there's a lot of things. And it's always a give and take of what a players ask for and, maybe what you're going to end up in with return. But I think, the league, the governors, the Players Union, everyone's done a great job of, understanding where the players are coming from, but also understanding where the league's coming from as well.
Yeah, and for the veterans, maybe you pick up a guy or two that you can maintain. You can keep one of those guys like a Vecchione or some of the Bears veterans that ended up in the KHL. You keep a guy like that around that you can continue to play and that the fans love. You got the fan favorites that you want to keep in town when it comes to that. And for the NHL as well, they're watching the situation closely. This is the feeder. This is the pipeline. It's the middle of their season too. They can't be losing out on the players that help their teams as well. So when you come into a situation that I think it's curious, how much does the NHL, how much are they keeping watch on that and maybe pipe in and say, hey guys, you got to get this settled. This is an issue that's important to us as well.
Big time. And it goes both ways. It's not only just obviously the NHL watching over the American Hockey League, it's also the NHLPA watching over the PHPA, the Professional Players Association in the American League. So it's one of those things, it's back and forth. Brian Ramsey stepped in like a year and a half ago now into his role with our union in the PHPA. And so those guys are talking all the time with the NHLPA, with the league, just trying to iron that all out. And like I said before, I'm super excited that they're able to find some common ground and kind of agree on a deal before it gets too late.
All right, Garrett Mitchell, Todd Sadowski, we're at Bojangles Coliseum for a weekend pair here. The Checkers and the Hershey Bears, both games on Fox 43, Fox 43.2, Antenna TV, Saturday at 4 p.m. Puck drops right away, so get in your seat and get ready. As soon as that broadcast starts, they're dropping the puck here at Charlotte, and then on Sunday at 4 p.m. on the main channel. Same two teams at it again. As we mentioned, we hope the Checkers cool off a little bit. Bears have their hands full with the team that is it's really talented. They play a fast-paced style of hockey, a fun style of hockey, so we'll see how the Bears can handle that. We appreciate you joining us and watching this digital conversation. Make sure you join us for the broadcast this weekend.